Want to date more efficiently and increase the odds of finding a great partner? Then you're in the right place. Ready? Hi, it's Ken with 21traits.com, where you can take the free 90-second quiz that instantly identifies your critical compatibilities to date more efficiently and find the right partner faster. One of the personality traits that can make or break a relationship is something many of us don't even think about in a partner until you're living together, whether for days at a time or all the time. But if you're not clear on this one, living together could be a cluster, physically and emotionally. I'll ask you right now, have you ever considered how organized your partner needs to be? How about you? Are you organized? Do you think it's important for you and your partner to be aligned in this area? Now, to be sure, there's different types of being organized and varying degrees. The two most common that can have impact on others are physical and communication, how you express yourself. I'll explain what I mean while you consider how relevant you think it is, okay? So first, there's organization that's physical, in your home. Does everything need to be in its place for you? If so, kind of, or exactly? Same thing with being clean. Does little stuff wig you out, like dust, dirty sinks, countertops, things not being in their place? Does the bed need to be made every day? Those types of things. You might prefer and be more comfortable with a high level of organization, or relatively so, but here again, there's varying degrees. As with all the traits, and I'm a broken record here, I admit, but it's worth repeating. There's no right or wrong, just what's right for you. You deserve what you want and what works for you. Assuming you have a high need for your environment to be buttoned up, could you adapt to someone who's not that way? If they can't meet you halfway for whatever reason, would you mind straightening up? The second type that can impact partners is organization of thought, how you communicate. This is why pairing up for the long term can be tricky. You can get along in a lot of ways, but process information differently. For example, if one of you doesn't present information in a way the other can understand it, that can be a problem. Whether it's being long-winded, circuitous, confusing, or some other style that affects communication, it's worth exploring. In the category of self-awareness, one of our recurring themes here, it's worth knowing whether you're the type who's able and willing to adjust to your partner's idiosyncrasies. That can make all the difference. Of course, everything doesn't bother everyone, and none of us is perfect. And there's an old saying about pairing up. Find someone who can tolerate you. Everyone's got their shortcomings, or they're crazy. It's easy enough to find someone you're attracted to, but compatibility is another thing. If you're generally an organized person who keeps everything in its place and functions day to day in a relatively clean and orderly manner, you're more likely to get along in close quarters with someone who has a similar style, and vice versa. It's entirely possible for two people to care much less about all that. We've talked about certain traits that need to be in the same vicinity and how you rate them in the 21traits.com quiz. One of those is independence a couple episodes back. Being one number apart is reasonable, but 2 degrees might indicate problems ahead for this particular trait. Partnering with someone is an art, not a science, so it's worth exploring. And I just want to reiterate that none of these considerations are about judgment. They're about compatibility. Can't emphasize it enough. You deserve what you want, what works for you. So whatever being organized means to you, physical, communication, and so on, it can make a difference when it comes to love in the long term. Taking the quiz the first time to identify your needs in a partner helps filter people in and out. But taking it a second time to assess where you yourself fall can help enhance your self-awareness. We shouldn't shrink from who we are. We should own it. Authenticity attracts more appropriate partners and, as we said, is a path to chemistry. Maybe being with someone who's organized is a priority for you. Maybe it's not. Either way, you need to know in advance if this is a trait, and ultimately a behavior, that will impact your relationship. A lot of little things that aren't really so little need to line up for a relationship to endure. Organization is one of those aspects to be aware of. Make sure you follow our podcast, share it with friends, and take the quiz at 21traits.com. See you next time.